Looking for the best in authentic Maltese cuisine? Then you need to dine at Georgie's on Vista. Situated in the heart of Fraser Rise, you can't go wrong when it comes to family dining. We have a menu for mum and dad, one for the kids, and one for seniors. Everyone's taken care of. Don't miss our specialty nights. Tuesday night is Parma night, where you get to choose from not one, but 5 different Parmas. Wednesday night, kids eat free with every paying adult meal. Thursday night is members night, where members get the chance to win some great prizes. And Friday night, join us for happy hour between 5:30pm to 7:30pm. Jim, Johnny, Jack and their little brother Schooner are only $5 each. Looking to get an early start Friday afternoon for a punt? Our sports bar with TAB is open from 3pm Friday afternoons. To book your table, email info@georgiesonvista.com.au. Bring the family and come dine at Georgie's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Under new management, the Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre is proud to provide the wider Sunbury community with a whole new fresh look and feel. Covering all forms of indoor sports from indoor soccer, cricket, netball, yoga, Pilates, darts, golf, and especially our all-new Sunbury Futsal League, the Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre has something for every sports enthusiast. Young budding footballers who are looking to improve their skills come in and register or trial with Sunbury City Futsal Club, coached by the highly accredited George Dibb. Be a part of one of the fastest growing sports in Australia and become a part of the new futsal pathway by representing Sunbury City Futsal Club at the upcoming Football Victoria Futsal League state titles in April. For a full overview of all that Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre has to offer, please visit our website www.sunburyindoorsports.com.au, like our Facebook page or call us on 0448 445 406. Good evening and a very, very warm, literally very, very warm welcome to you all, wherever you may be. Thank you for joining us here tonight. It's episode 47 or season 3, episode 2 of the Football Out West show. My name is Tonchi Prusak, and joining me, as he does week in, week out, my co-host Craig Filer. Craig, how are you today?
Good evening, Tonchi. Good evening, listeners. What a day, eh? It's bloody fantastic, isn't it? 3 days we've had over 30 degrees. You believe it? Melbourne? 3 days.
It's rare. Are we actually living in Victoria? We've had a bad summer. Let's face it. Hey.
Yes, it's lovely to get some sun, although it is very warm. But give it time. Monday we're back down to 18 degrees and rain, so back to normality.
Absolutely, mate. We have, and speaking of getting back to normality, after the lockdown we had to have. Version 3, it's over. Hopefully that is it. Hopefully we will not have any more lockdowns for the rest of this year, at least. We are going to have an absolute jam-packed show tonight. Craig, who are some of our guests that we've got lined up for tonight's show? It's going to be an absolute doozy, isn't it?
Yeah, we've got a great show. As always, we try and pack the show up with relevant guests. So obviously our main guest this evening is Anthony Grimmer from Football Federation. We'll be talking about the new futsal venture, his role within that. We have Paul de Blasi coming on, who's our episode sponsor of Sunbury Sports Club. So he'll be on to talk about that venture and the link up with the futsal. We'll talk about all the news that's going on, and we'll have a couple of special guests on the phone lines from Wyndham Football Club and Melton Phoenix Football Club, who take on each other this weekend in the qualifying rounds of the FFA Cup. So it'll be good to hear from both coaches as they gear up for the big weekend.
Absolutely. Anthony Grimmer will be coming in off the bench in the second half of today's program. So do stay tuned for that. And as Craig mentioned, we've got some absolute fantastic guests coming up. It is our second show of the season, a distinct futsal-themed program tonight. And I know lots of people will be tuning in who've either been involved directly or indirectly. Their kids might be playing, or they might be involved in centres that does offer indoor soccer or futsal. That's going to be very, very interesting. Now, before we go any further, in 2021, we are proudly brought to you by our major sponsor, the George Cross Football Club, home of Georgie's on Vista. We thank them sincerely for their support. All of their support last year, Mark Sultana, the president, and everyone down there at George Cross, Lisa Jurich, etc., etc. Thank you once again. Without sponsors such as yourselves, we wouldn't be able to bring this show to you each week. And a special shout out to our guest, Paul de Blasi, who's also the owner of Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports. There's the number on the screen, 0448 445 406. And there was an advert just in the previous, in the introduction, if you like. And whilst we're talking about the introduction, Craig, gosh, I cannot stop looking at that intro skit. How good is that? Yeah,
look, done a great job of it. It took some getting done, but we've got the new corporate colours, and it looks fantastic. It sounds fantastic, and I think, as we said last year, we wanted to raise the bar a little bit this year, not only with the introduction, but also a big thank you to Hands for Hire as well, who also produced the lovely banners behind us, Tonch, which. Again, it just makes it all look far more professional, and it's great for us when we get out there on the roads and go to clubs, and we've got the Football Out West banner on show.
Absolutely. Now, it's all looking good. There's going to be lots of fantastic content in tonight's show, and we're going to get straight into it. We're going to get into the news desk, so don't go away. We'll be right back after these few messages from the news desk.
Looking for a venue for your next event? Our function room at George's on Vista is the perfect place for your next special celebration. That special birthday or anniversary, a baptism, communion or confirmation? Whatever the celebration, we can provide a fun and enjoyable atmosphere with great food. Why not hold your next corporate event in our function room? We can seat up to 100 people and can provide you with a professional environment. Whether you're looking to hold a stand-up or sit-down event, we can cater to your needs. We have meal plans and platters for you to choose from. For more information, send an email to info@georgesonvista.com.au. There's no better place out west to hold your next function than at George's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. 1 week to go, Craig, before the NPL Victoria men's competition kicks off. And I, for one, cannot wait for this season. Yourself?
No, very much. I think we're all in the same boat. I think we're on week 76 of pre-season.
Yes.
It's been a long time, and I think fingers crossed next weekend everybody can get back to doing what we all love, and that's going out, playing, watching, and being involved in the greatest sport in the world. And it's been a shame, but we are close, Tonch. Let's keep our fingers crossed that it all goes swimmingly this week, and we can all get back out on the parks next week.
Well, we haven't even finished this week's show, and we're already looking forward to next week's show, ladies and gentlemen. Make sure that next week you do tune in, because we're going to have a very, very, very special NPL preview show. But let's turn our attention to this weekend and what is going on. And first up, let's look at the A-League fixtures this weekend, Craig. There they are on the screen at the moment. So let's go through some of those ones. Tonight, Adelaide United taking on Central Coast Mariners. But the one that's, I guess, most interesting to us after, 2 weeks break, Western United are back in action against New Boys Macarthur FC tomorrow night in Ballarat. Mate, thoughts? How's that going to go?
Yeah, that'll be a cracker. Macarthur have started really well. Weather's going to be very hot. It's going to be up there in Ballarat, which it's going to be even hotter up there. But it's going to be a close game. I'm going to sit on the fence with this one, Tonch. I think it's going to be a scoring game. I think we're probably going to get a 2-2 draw in this one up at Ballarat. But I think it'll be a cracker.
Yeah, it's going to be a good game. Macarthur have done very well. They've impressed. Look, as did Western United last year in their debut season. So it will be an interesting game, no doubt. On Saturday night, after the Western United game, Sydney FC take on Brisbane Roar up in Sydney. And then on Sunday, another Victorian club will be in action at 4 o'clock. Melbourne Victory taking on Newcastle Jets.
That's a must win.
If ever there was a must win,
that's a must win, isn't it? For Grant Brebner, I think I don't believe they'll make a hasty decision on him. It's his first job, but I think he's going to have to start turning out some results with the players that they've brought in. Sitting bottom of the league on 4 points, having won one game out of 4. Conceding, got a -7 goal difference after 4 games is not a good start. So that's a must win for Grant Brebner and Melbourne Victory there.
Yeah, then and the second game of the evening, Wellington Phoenix taking on Western Sydney Wanderers. Then on Tuesday night, Melbourne City are at home to Sydney FC. So grand final replay, if you like. Very important game, that one for City, obviously.
Yeah, it is. They're on a bit of a bad run at the moment, having lost 4 out of 5. So again, we talk about Grant Brebner and Melbourne Victory needing a win. So does Melbourne City. They're certainly going through a bit of a torrid time. They do have a -4 goal difference, which is again it's unlike Melbourne City. So they've got to get their back on the rails as quick as they can. But Sydney do what Sydney do well. Won 3 out of the 5 games and consistently solid time. But I just want to go back to the top of the screen there, and Adelaide against Central Coast Mariners. We haven't talked about it yet, but what a turnaround at that football club, Tonch. Just think that they've won the golden the wooden spoon for what, 7 out of 8 seasons, is it?
Yeah, it was something like that. It's a staggering statistic, isn't it?
Yeah, and now they're sat, proudly. You have to say they're playing some fantastic football and sat on top of the league, even though they do have the worst footballer in the world as their striking. How that happened, I have no idea.
Simon.
Yes, but look,
Craig's adopted child.
Who's that?
Matt Simon. We just had to mute Craig there for a moment, viewers. But very, very important game. But ultimately, Adelaide from South Australia, Central Coast from New South Wales, are they Victorian clubs? No. Do we care? No. Let's move along. Wednesday night, the final game. If we talk about 6-pointers, Craig, games that teams really need to win, how about that for a 6-pointer? Next Wednesday, Melbourne Victory taking on Wellington Phoenix. A must-win for the boys in blue.
Yeah, for both of them. It is the 6-pointer, but 2 big games for Victory. 2 wins there, and all of a sudden they're up to 5th or 6th, and things don't look so bad. So it's a big couple of days for Melbourne Victory there.
Now, moving along to a tournament that has been played since 1981 continuously, known as the Geelong Advertiser Cup in its formative years. The Geelong Community Cup is back again. It was supposed to be held last weekend at Corio Soccer Club at the Hume Reserve Complex there. It will be back on this weekend. So it's a 2-day event. On Saturday, we've got the pool games. There's two. The teams have been split up into 2 divisions there, Pool A and Pool B. And then on Sunday, it's the final. And there you go, the 3rd and 4th place playoff at 3 p.m., the grand final at 5 p.m. Pool A, we've got a new team there, Golden Plains, who have stepped into Barwon Soccer Club's position because Barwon Soccer Club are involved in an FFA Cup game this weekend. We'll talk a little bit more about that. But Geelong, Golden Plains, and Homeside Corio in Pool A. And in Pool B, we've got Bell Park, Geelong Rangers, and the hot favourites, North Geelong Warriors, Craig.
Yeah, look, it's going to be a hot one tomorrow, that's for sure. Games are being played well into the evening, so I've not been involved in the Geelong Cup for a number of years when I've actually been down to watch, but I'm actually looking forward to going down and seeing this one tomorrow afternoon. It's certainly one to whet the appetite before the season starts, and it gives an opportunity to some players to I suppose stake their claim in first team consideration.
Yeah, absolutely. Hume Reserve is going to see a lot of State League 1 action this year. And very, very quickly, speaking about State League, is the fixtures are officially out. They are on the Football Victoria website. They were just officially released in the last hour or so. We sort of touched on them last week. There haven't been too many changes, apart from St Kilda Celts pulling out of State 1 Southeast, which is very... Do we know much news about that before we move on to the rest of the news?
We don't. I've tried to get in contact with them this week to see if we can get them on the show, but I haven't had a response. I can only imagine it's financial. You know, they're a State League 1 club. So it's probably more disappointing that a State League 1 club has pulled out of the competition because of financial issues. But I suppose that's football for you. We've gone through a torrid time, and clubs will go out of existence because of it, unfortunately, and it's the way that it is. But feel sorry for them because they've been a club that's just gone on the rise and rise and rise every year. I think they won consecutive championships and have been up there in State League 1 for the last couple of years. So, big loss for football.
Absolutely. Now, another big tournament happening on the weekend, likewise down at Geelong, this time at Geelong Soccer Club. And the host there will be the Geelong Soccer Club and Galaxy United. And it is the inaugural female football tournament. It is a 2-day event as well. Games happening non-stop. This one is being co-organised by Sandy Bay Media. Rehab involved with Sandy Bay, and a lot of those games are actually going to be live streamed. So a lot of the clubs that from the western suburbs, we've got Calder United, we've got Altona Magic, we've got St Albans Saints, I think, Sydenham Park. The list goes on and on. For those clubs that won't be able to, or the supporters that won't be able to make the trek down the highway, they'll be able to tune into some of those games. So, something that's being, supported by Geelong Soccer Club, Galaxy United Soccer Club, and Western United FC as well. So, great to see something like this being happen, because I don't think there has been anything like this for the girls. So it's great to see that.
Just on the fixtures, I think there may be some changes to those fixtures, Tonch, because I believe Altona Magic have pulled out player unavailability, so there's probably some changes in it. But as you said, it's great to see that there's a football tournament for the girls. So looking forward to seeing that over on the social media over the next couple of days.
The NPL Juniors is back in action, and this is round 4. So rounds 2 and 3 that were meant to be played last week as a doubleheader, they have been postponed for the time being. I'm no doubt that'll feature in a catch-up round later this year. But we've got the under 13 fixtures there on the screen. But Craig, all the teams are playing each other, isn't it? It's basically these preliminary rounds. It's more or less a carnival, isn't it? All the age groups play the same team correspondingly. Is that right?
Yeah, that's correct, Tonch. They play each other rounds 1 to 11, so they play each other once, and then it basically cuts into division. So you have your top 4 in each region will play in one league, and then your middle 4 and your bottom 4. So effectively, you play you play your standard of football. So if you finish in the top 4, you're going to play the top 4 of the South East and West and North. So you should be playing the best of the best, which is what MPL is all about. Your best players against each other. So maybe we'll touch on that subject time allowing later on this afternoon, Tom.
Correct. That will be this week's Fight Night Club or Friday Fight Night Club topic for discussion. We're hoping we'll have some time, but we've got so much to get through tonight. It's just going to be absolutely insane. Now, another bit of news this week, the appointment of old or new CEO of Football Victoria, Kimon Taliadoros, who has been operating in a caretaker role. He has also stepped down from his position as president of the board of Football Victoria as a result. So some are calling it a controversial appointment in the way that it was probably done. Others are saying it's a good appointment because Kimon is a very, very capable individual. Craig, how do you see that?
I have no comment. Look, somebody had to do the job. He stepped in whichever way that it's been that it's got to the decision, and there will be, as you said, Tons, there will be people that think it's not been done correctly. There'll be others that think the reality is the Football Federation needed somebody to run it. Kimon's in there. Regardless of what anybody thinks, now we've got to support and get around that and make sure that what's happened over the last 12 months is forgotten as much as we can. And we all move on as a state to make sure that we get the best out of everybody that we can. So we're hoping to get Kimon on in the next couple of weeks. Tonch, as we know, I've made contact with him today, and hopefully we can get him on in the next week or so.
It'd be fantastic.
Talk about his role and in everything that's going on in the world of Football Federation.
And there'll be many opportunities to state people's opinion. I will say one thing, though. We always say we need football people running the show. And, James Johnson up at FFA. We've now got Kimon Taliadoros officially at FFE or FV. Both football people. We need football people. And that's pretty much what I'm going to say. A big shout out, Craig. And this is something that you'll be very, very interested in. This weekend, Football Victoria is hosting the TIDC trials for regional kids up at Darebin. This is, from going from the under 9 through to the under 17, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
17. The first pathway to being identified. And look, we often say that there are talented players in the regional areas, Bendigo, Ballarat, Geelong, etc. And this is that first opportunity for them to be identified. So wish all the kids involved in this program all the very best. It's a brilliant initiative, and it's a brilliant step in the right direction for these talented individuals.
Yep, absolutely. It's there has to be a pathway. Again, I'm not going to touch too much on it because we may touch on it later on, but I'm not sure NPL is the pathway for these talented players. So they have to be highlighted at some point and given the opportunities. I've actually got a couple of boys in my 19 squad that are in those trials tomorrow. So wish them all the best and everybody that's involved.
Yeah, absolutely. Now, my gosh, have we got so much information these days for you guys. We're now going to, Craig's going to step away and he's going to get the first of our guests on the phone. But in the meantime, FFA Cup news this week, or games being played this week, in fact. Actually, what we'll do is we'll bring the other slide of the first 14 games. So there we go. Tatura has got the bye. Aspendale taking on Bundoora. I'm not going to go through all of those. Ballarat taking on Glen Waverley. But the clubs that are from the western suburbs, Surfside Waves, an Ocean Grove-based club making their debut in State 5 this year. They'll be taking on Endeavour Hills. Look at some of those games that are happening there. Tullamarine taking on Moonee Valley Knights. Deakin Uni at home to Old Trinity Grammarians. Bacchus Marsh will also be entering the fray. Maribyrnong Greens are away. But the big one there is going to be Melton Phoenix Worth versus Wyndham Wyndham FC, sorry. That's going to be a big one. And we'll have someone from both those teams very, very shortly. Our first guest is going to be someone from Melton Phoenix. Do hang around for that one. The other games that we've got there, very, very quickly, looking at some of the teams that will be from the West. Balmoral taking on Alphington. West Point will be away to Bunyip District. Lara United away to Rosebud there as well. Maidstone United at home to Baronia. Keilor Wolves away to Old Melburnians. And Barwon Soccer Club, who had an absolute brilliant run last year in the FFV or the FFA Cup rather, they travel away to Spring Gully United. So that's going to be brilliant there. Craig, have we got any of the gents on the line?
No, not at the moment, Tonch. Just trying to get hold of them now.
Okay, so Craig's going to keep on trying to get a hold of those guys. In the meantime, let's look at some of those other games. So we talked about Barwon United, who had an absolutely fantastic run on the way, I think, to winning 4 or 5 games in last year's competition before it was unfortunately COVID cancelled. They will be looking to once again get on the winning foot, and they are certainly one of the favourites, if not the hot favourite, to take out the State 5 title. So all eyes will be on Barwon Soccer Club and how they go in these early stages of the competition. So, it should be fantastic. So thank you for tuning in to the Football Out West show program. A big shout out to tonight's episode sponsor, Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports. There's their number, 0448 445 406. Also, a massive shout out to our members who are once again on board again this year. Vladimir Zetovic, he's joined again. Christopher Cruz, as well as Paul de Blasi. We've got to thank that man who will be on a little later on this show. So, look, you too can become a member of the Football Out West show. Simply go to www.patreon, that's patreon.com/Football Out West show. Craig, any luck? Have we got any?
No, not at the moment, Tom. Still waiting.
Not still waiting. We're going to try and get a hold of either Darren Trainer from Melton Phoenix, the head coach of Melton Phoenix, and they've had a lot of news happening down there at McPherson Park over the past 12 months, with a lot of improvements off field as well. And we'll hopefully be talking to Wyndham FC's Dominic Ottayano. Hope I've pronounced that correctly. That will be coming on a little later on in tonight's show.
Yeah, Football Out West, mate.
Have we got it? That Craig's still trying to get a hold of either of our two guests. Now, a big shout out once again to our major sponsors for this year, George Cross Football Club. They are sponsoring all the shows this year. So a big thank you to them, the major backers. They will be starting the State League 1 season on Saturday, March the 20th against Sydenham Park, which is going to be a classic game. That one's going to be a brilliant game. So we cannot wait for that one. That's going to be an awesome one. And we'll go back to Craig and see how he's going. Craig, any luck, mate?
We do, can't yet. We have the coach of Wyndham Football Club, Dominic, also known as Mimi, on the line. Mimo, how are you?
Hi, Craig. I'm good, thanks. How are you?
I'm very well. Hope your listeners can hear you. Tonchi, can you hear?
I can hear him. Dom, how are you, mate?
Yeah, good, mate. How are you?
Very hot, but I'm not complaining. I love this weather. We've waited so long for this weather, and we've also waited so long for the football season to kick off. As Craig said, I think it's pre-season day 753, whatever. Mate, you must be jumping out of your skin at the prospect of a new season, hey?
Oh, definitely. We can't wait to go back out there and play competitive football. It's good to enjoy this weather out of lockdown as well. So,
now, how is the fitness of the boys? I mean, it's going to be quite warm and quite humid tomorrow. So, have you really been working the boys very hard in the fitness department?
Yeah, it's going to be a real hot one tomorrow, that's for sure. We've been, as soon as the lockdown was over, we were straight onto the park. So we've been around doing pre-season now since November. So I'd expect them to be...
What, 2018?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So, yeah. But we'll see. You know, the hot weather, some people handle it better than others. We'll see how they go. Yeah.
And how's your squad shaping up for this season, Dominic? It's obviously a relatively new club into the state league. I think this is probably your third year. I think. How's your squad shaping up there over in? You're actually in Werribee, aren't you? You're playing in the university there in Werribee.
Yeah, so the club's actually based in Wyndham Vale because we've recently obviously gone through the merger.
Yeah.
So Wyndham United and Wyndham Vale have merged and now become Wyndham FC. So we're actually based in Wyndham Vale, but we still play our home games at BU for the time being until the facilities here are built, which they're planning to build a few grounds here within the next couple of years. Look, we're doing, you know, the best we can. Obviously, being a new club, it's difficult. Obviously, we're just building from the ground up. But look, our first season we played in State 5. We weren't ready. We learned a lot of lessons from that year, and we've, you know, we're not going to be fighting. You know, let's be realistic. I don't think we'll be fighting for the title. For promotion, but I think our aim will be to be at least competitive and to prove to everyone that we belong in state soccer.
Yeah.
So yeah, look, I'm confident with the boys, but I'm not expecting any miracles.
Go on, Craig.
That's all right. So we've obviously the league is important, and that doesn't start for a couple of weeks. But this weekend sees you play in the first qualifying round of this season's FFA Cup, which is always a great start to every football season. I think every footballer looks forward to the draw, and you've been picked against Melton Phoenix, who are also in State League 5 West. So how do you think the game will go? What's your plans? How are you going to go into the game?
Look, I think the same story goes with this one. We've got to go in. You know, realistically, obviously, we're not the favourites. Knowing Melton and knowing, you know, obviously being a very well-respected and established club, it's always tough going to Melton. Even as a player, I've versed them quite a few times, and it's a tough place to go. So, you know, we don't go in this game as losers, but we know with whatever happens tomorrow, it's going to be a tough day. But look, all we ask from the boys is, you know, we obviously had a big chat about this game on Thursday. You know, we asked them to just stay focused for 90 minutes, to not drop their heads and just give their all for the club. And you know, anything can happen. It is a hot day, and that could help us, or it could help them. It could go either way. So
it's cup football. Anything can happen in football, in club football. That's the enjoyment out of it. You know, I've been involved in it myself, and we've caused a few upsets over the years, and that's what football's about. Yeah. It's about, you know, creating the upsets and creating a legacy for the clubs.
That's why they call it a cup set, I suppose. We're going to have to leave you there, Dom. Thank you very much for joining us. Wish you all the best, not just for tomorrow, but also obviously for the season ahead. And we'll be keeping a keen eye on the fortunes of the newly merged Wyndham FC. All the best for the season ahead, mate.
No worries, I appreciate that. Thanks for having us.
All the best.
All the best, yeah. Now, Craig's going to now try and get our second guest, the hosts of the two combatants. It really is a Western derby there. So we'll be looking at the Melton Phoenix side, and one of our members, I must say, there is Vladimir Zetovic. He's one of our gold VIP members. He says, "Go Melton Phoenix." So he will certainly be hoping that in that case that that Melton Phoenix will get off the line. But I'm sure the Wyndham FC faithful would be keen to try and get something there. Now, Craig, have we got you there?
No, not yet.
Not yet. Okay, so we'll just put Craig there. He'll come off the line and he'll be on very, very shortly, hoping to get him our Daniel Traynor on the program very quickly. we've got a bit of a problem with Craig. Can't seem to get him where he's. What we might do, ladies and gentlemen, we might take a quick break. When we return, we're going to have just a few words from our sponsors. And when we return, hopefully we'll have Melton Phoenix's Darren Trainer on the line.
Hey, Dad, you there?
Under new management, the Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre is proud to provide the wider Sunbury community with a whole new fresh look and feel. Covering all forms of indoor sports from indoor soccer, cricket, netball, yoga, Pilates, darts, golf, and especially our all-new Sunbury Futsal League, the Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports. Welcome back to the Football Out West show. You're tuning into episode 2 of our third season. And hopefully we've got Craig on the line. Craig, you there?
I am here. Can you not see me, Tonch?
No, unfortunately not for some reason. I'm not sure what's going on.
Listeners will be over the moon with that, I'm sure.
So. Oh, absolutely. It's a real. Did I tell you, by the way, it is my birthday on Sunday, so this must be an early birthday present. Thank you, Craig.
Hey, happy days. Look, we can't get anybody from Melton Phoenix, but we'll try and get Darren on before the end of the show today, Tonch. So we'll see if we can get him back on, get him on before the end.
Not a problem. Well, look, what we'll try and do then is, we're going to speak to one of our first guests then a bit later on in the show, and that will be, we might have to bring on Craig. You joining us again? We still can't see you for some unknown reason. Not too sure what is going on there, but hello, Craig. We're going to have to soldier on. We had this problem last year. Remember that? When you had the problem of hello, Craig. He's moved house and everything, but he still seems to have the internet problem. So that is not good. We're going to have a short ad break very, very shortly. When we return, hopefully we will have then all the guests for tonight's show.
Looking for a venue for your next event? Our function room at George's on Vista is the perfect place for your next special celebration. That special birthday or anniversary, a baptism, communion or confirmation, whatever the celebration, we can provide a fun and enjoyable atmosphere with great food. Why not hold your next corporate event in our function room? We can seat up to 100 people and can provide you with a professional environment. Whether you're looking to hold a stand-up or sit-down event, we can cater to your needs. We have meal plans and platters for you to choose from. For more information, send an email to info@georgesonvista.com.au. There's no better place out west to hold your next function than at George's on Vista, 46 City Vista Court, Fraser Rise, Plumpton.
Welcome back to the Football Out West program. Episode 47. Craig, hopefully we're going to be able to get you on. Are you there, Craig? No, it seems that we cannot get Craig for some unknown reason. We're going to bring our first guest onto the show today, and he's the owner of the Elite Indoor Sports Centre at Sunbury, or the Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre, and there he is joining us today. A very, very big welcome to Paul de Blasi. Paul, thank you for joining us. It looks like Craig's left the building 1 week early.
Yes, I think he's going to get a suntan, Tonch.
Well, he was telling us all about Lawn and how he's going to be heading down to Lawnway very, very shortly in the next few in the week, I suppose. But leaving us a week early, that's no good, mate. Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports, tell us a little bit about that and how you got involved with the Indoor Sports Centre there.
Yeah, we we were lucky enough to purchase the business throughout COVID, early in the months of 2020. Obviously, it was a bit of a risk, not knowing what the climate was going to present to us. But what it did do, it gave us an opportunity to do a mass renovation, put in some new facilities, and spruce up the place, which is now a modern facility for everyone to use. So, yeah, we're really happy with it. We've got some golf simulators. We've got our yoga classes in a multi-purpose room. We've also got our massage area, and also our indoor sports, which is going really well. Obviously, indoor soccer, we love. We've introduced futsal now, and we continue to do our cricket and indoor netball as well. So,
Yoga,
we're really
Pilates,
pleased,
darts, golf, and especially our all-new Sunbury Futsal League. The Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre has something for every sports enthusiast. Young budding footballers who are looking to improve their skills come in and register or trial with Sunbury City Futsal Club, coached by the highly accredited George Dibb. Be a part of one of the fastest
on the screen we
sports
can
in
see
Australia and become a part of the new futsal pathway by representing Sunbury City Futsal Club at the upcoming Football Victoria Futsal League state titles in April. For an overview of all that Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre has to offer, please visit our website www.sunburyindoorsports.com.au, like our Facebook page, or call us on 0448 445 406.
You've got a bit of expertise when it comes to fitting out interiors, have you?
Fortunately, yes, I do. But a lot of blood, sweat, and tears poured into each weekend from home. But that's what you got to do, and it makes it all worthwhile at the end, and the results are there. And and it's something that now we can share with the community, which is great.
Yeah, brilliant, mate. Now, as far as the indoor soccer component is happening there, mate, you've got a new competition starting up. I think it's Monday. Tell us a bit more about that for all the football enthusiasts in the western suburbs.
Yeah, so that's an exciting league. It's a 5-a-side league, very fast. We have open age at the moment, but we're going to introduce a junior comp as well, which will begin on Friday night. So that's coming up in March. We get to release the exact date, but it'll be coming up in March once we get all our teams in. But anyone, if anyone's interested, is more than welcome to jump on our website. There's some expression of interest links there, and they can get involved.
Well, one of our regular listeners, Maxi Santich, says there, I play at Sunbury Indoor every Monday night. Great facilities run by great people. PS need better referees. And guess who's one of our referees? One of our members who here we go. Look at that. Vladimir Zetovic, who's one of our Gold VIP members. He says, do you need referees? And Paul, speaking of Gold VIP members, mate, you are also one. So we need to really thank you very, very much. But, you know, what compelled you to become a Gold VIP member of the show?
I've always enjoyed yourself and Craig promoting football out in the West, and I think the more of it, the better. It's brings a good voice to the community, or brings a voice to everywhere, I suppose, because you're on the internet, and anyone can hear it. So I think that's a good result for football out in the West.
Mate, really, really appreciate everything that you've done for this show, the support that you've done for this show. And now we're asking all of our patrons, all of our listeners, all of our followers that particularly live in that area to give Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports a really good go and try it out. Tough year, mate. This last year, obviously, because of COVID, it's been a really hard one for the whole state. We talked about how difficult it's been for the wider football community, but as an owner of an indoor sports venture, it must have really been a year that, and this year has been sort of a topsy-turvy year to start, but must have, tell us a bit about the trials and tribulations you've had.
Yeah, lots of challenges. We're obviously checking all the restrictions and the requirements on a constant basis. All our staff are well trained, which is good, and obviously sanitising and masks and everything that continues to go on. It's just becoming a normality now, and we just do the best we can. We fall in line with the gyms and all that. So we're normally the first ones closed down when something happens. So we're always itching to get those restrictions lifted, and everyone that has been at the centre, they always come back, which is a good sign, and we really appreciate it.
He's back. The handsome man is back. The handsome member of the duo, the dynamic duo. He's back. Craig, how are you? Have you got any questions?
Sorry about that, guys. I don't know what went on down in Werribee there, but it certainly wasn't the internet. So I'm paying enough for the bloody internet in here. So it's definitely not. But Paul, I just want to question me. Actually, I thought you were a really decent bloke until tonight, and then I just realised. And then I've just realised what you've got on your shirt, mate. And if you ask your missus nicely, she'll be able to wash that off. She'll be able to wash it off.
Can't fault the Villa this year, Craig. They're doing well.
They're doing fantastically well, mate. There's a coach that's they've stuck with through hard times the season before last, mate, and he's come out the other way. So anyway, it's not about Aston Villa, is it?
It can be.
All good. Sorry about that, Tosh.
No, you're all good, mate. Paul, we're going to let you go. But our next guest, who's waiting eagerly in the green room, you might have had a coffee back there, socially distancing, of course, there. Virtually speaking, of course. If anyone is actually thinking that we've got this green room, is Anthony Grimmer, Football Victoria's head of futsal, the newly appointed. What's your thoughts about, Football Victoria finally embracing futsal or saying it's a return to the previous era when they were looking after it, but great to see that Football Victoria has embraced it. I talk too much. Over to you. What are your opinions of that?
Well, me personally, I think it's a great step forward. Obviously, they've always been there, Football Victoria, but now it's got a great person at the helm. Give it some direction, and it's going to just create the pathways that are required. Kids learning futsal coming through from the States. Now it can get into a state level, official state level, and also move into the national level, which I think is fantastic.
Yeah, absolutely, mate. Once again, we cannot say thank you enough for being both a sponsor, a member, and an absolute shining example to all the other loyal listeners and viewers out there. We thank you very much, and mate, wishing you all the very best with your venture, not just in 2021, but thereafter as well.
Yeah, look, and we'll look to try and get up at some point throughout the season as well, Paul, and do a show from your centre, which will be fantastic.
My pleasure. Thanks, Conchi. Thanks, Craig. Appreciate it.
All right. Thanks for your help, Paul. Appreciate it.
That was Paul de Blasi, the owner of the Sunbury Elite Indoor Sports Centre. And even though it does say elite, it is certainly for absolutely everyone. So definitely, if you're in that area, give it a go. And we certainly, once again, cannot say enough thank you to Paul de Blasi for his sponsorship and for his membership of the program. Craig, we're going to take a very, very quick break. When we return, stay online, by the way. Don't go away anywhere. Don't touch buttons.
I'm not touching anything.
You're not due to go down to lawn for another week.
Yeah. Perfect.
That's right. Yeah. Okay. Stay on board. Folks, you're tuning into the Football Out West show. When we return after these very, very important messages, we'll be in the second half. And straight away, the referee has been signalled that there's going to be a substitution made. So we're going to be bringing on our main guest, Football Victoria's newly appointed head of futsal, Anthony Grimmer. Don't go away for that. An interview you will not want to miss.
Are you opening a new business or want to improve your current exposure to drive more customers? Then talk to our team at Principal Signs. We have over 30 years' experience of helping businesses like yours stand out from the crowd. We can design, manufacture and install a range of signs, either permanent or temporary, at an affordable price without compromising on quality. A signage supplier with a reliable reputation. You can trust the team at Principal Signs to ensure that you make the best decision for your business and your budget. We are passionate about giving you a standout experience in customer service and ensure that we exceed your expectations every time. For more information, find us on Facebook or check out our testimonials and work examples on www.principalsigns.com.au. Or call Ray on 0406 728873 for a quote. Mention this ad for a 10% discount off your first order.
Hands for Hire is a free platform that connects people looking for more work in their downtime, and also businesses who want to list jobs on a casual basis. Are you finding that you have spare time and could actually be earning extra money? Or do you need a hand on a casual basis and don't want to employ a full-time worker? Hands for Hire is the app to help you fill that time yourself without paying huge fees to recruiting agents or labour hire companies. Signing up is completely free, without any obligation.
Welcome back to the Football Out West show. It is episode 47, our third season, Craig, our third season. Only our second season back, but can you believe it? Geez, it's been amazing, hasn't it?
Yeah, it has. 47, almost the big 50. We've said it before and we'll say it again. We actually only started, we were only going to do 3 shows. And here we are, we're almost at the half century, Tom. So you don't look any different from the day we started.
Yeah, no, fantastic, mate. Enough about us, and let's talk about our very, very special guest. He's been itching, he's been sweating, he's been really, really just chafing at the bit to come on this show, and he's finally on the show, and with great pleasure, let's welcome the head of the newly appointed position of head of futsal, Anthony Grimmer from Football Victoria. Anthony, how are you? Nice to see your smiling face.
Good. Thank you, Tonchi and Craig, and congratulations on the show. 3 seasons already. That's fantastic.
Oh, no. Geez, it's almost time for kindergarten, Craig. What do you reckon, huh?
Very good. No, it's a pleasure to get you on the show, Anthony, and looking forward to the chat about your new role and how futsal's how it's going to impact futsal and the game here in Victoria.
Thanks for the invite.
No problem.
Now, early in the show, Anthony, we did mention about football people being involved in football organisations and the importance of that. Now, mate, knowing you personally, both from a few years back as well, and a lot of people do as well, if there was one person in Victoria, I think that had to head up the head of futsal, it's Anthony Grimmer. Mate, you've had a long and direct connection with the sport. Tell us a bit about your background and how you got involved with futsal. Over to you, mate. We want to hear all about it.
Yeah, well, I was basically born into a futsal family, if you like. Originally from Adelaide. My dad, in particular, Ray, does a lot of volunteering, has worked in football pretty much his whole life as well. You'd think he's full-time with the way he gives his life to futsal and football as well. But it's just one of those things where, you start off as a 5 or 6 year old, you tag along, and then and you just get that futsal or football bug, and that's what happened to me. And strangely enough, with futsal, my dad was a referee for some time, and I chose to take the referee pathway at a very early age. And one day he was refereeing a senior men's match in a local town in Adelaide, and the other referee never showed up, so he was stuck doing a grand final with only himself to referee this senior men's match, and because I tagged along all those years, he asked me to referee on the other side and just point my hands in either direction and put them there, and that's how it started really. And funny story was I was I think maybe 12 or 13 at the time, doing a senior men's match with my dad. And I did such a good job, apparently, that there was a spare trophy left for the champions team at the end of the night, which they gave to me. So I'll never forget that moment. It's one of those things where you look back and to say from that moment and now sort of heading up the game and in Victoria, it sort of hits you. Everything that I do is from the heart and from my I guess personal experience in the game.
Yeah, perfect. So just before we sort of get on to your role and everything else, Anthony, but just for those that don't know or are not familiar with futsal, I'm sure most people are that listen to the show, but there will be some people out there that don't know. What's the key differences between futsal and a genuine, normal indoor five-a-side tournament or game?
Yeah, well, futsal is the official FIFA five-a-side. Or the official approved version five-a-side. And futsal, meaning foot, is obviously football, and sala is the Uruguayan word or the Spanish word for hall. So that's how it came. Futsal was how the name came about. But it actually originated after the first World Cup when Uruguay hosted it, and I think it was a PE teacher who decided to take all the kids after training indoors after it was raining so heavily, and he wanted to. I think basketball was a key sport for them as well, but he wanted to really mimic the football pitch indoors. So drawing the line markings, but found that in a very short contained area, it'd be better to sort of like in futsal, instead of throwing the ball in back into the pitch, if you like, you actually put the ball on the spot on the line and you kick it in. So it's 5v5, but and it's very technical. Indoor soccer is mostly played off rebound walls and nets. So futsal is a very technical game. It's got its own laws of the game under FIFA. It's got its own FIFA Futsal World Cup. And yeah, it's a global game. Again, played pretty much wherever football's played.
Now, Anthony, Craig.
All right. No, I was just going to say, there's a couple of obviously difference. The ball's slightly different, isn't it? The ball's slightly, it's a heavier ball, so you don't get the bounce.
It's low rebound, so it takes a lot of skill and improves a lot of ball control for players. In terms of footballers who play futsal, they can get a lot of touches on the ball. They can make quick decisions in very short space. So the technical skill needed to get out of those small spaces and use that ball. You see a lot of the Brazilians and Ronaldinho and those. Even Tom Rogic played for the Futsaroos that met the Australian national team. You see their skill level and the way they have real close ball control. So that ball is a key factor in that game.
Now, Anthony, a lot of these days you sort of see futsal leagues and what you're not, and they often play on just traditional basketball courts, and they use those dimensions. But the actual official futsal court, internationally speaking, is a lot bigger than that, isn't it?
Yeah, it is. It's a 40-metre by 20-metre court, and your average basketball court could be, even smaller, but smaller. It's around 36 by 18, even smaller at times, even 30 metres. So it ranges, but I think that comes down to our infrastructure as well across this country, where most of the venues are set up as multi-purpose. So it suits us to be able to, and also councils and providers to be able to, even like Paul de Blasio who had before, you're able to cater for a range of sports, not just futsal and indoor soccer. So the good thing for us is trying to roll out a strategy like we're doing here in Victoria and even nationally, is that we really want to be rolling out futsal wherever there's a basketball or netball court, to be honest.
And that brings me to the next question, I guess. What can the sport as a whole, I suppose, expect from this new what's the best word to describe it? FFV now embracing in futsal, as far as pathways, as far as elite development, even things as far as getting, I guess, the different associations and, dare I say, factions, for want of a better word, under the one umbrella. What's your vision for this new movement, if you like?
Well, it's interesting because when we looked at this space, we did a review in 2019, an independent review on futsal, and a lot of the recommendations and we couldn't roll out last year due to COVID. The organisation implemented a strategic plan for football generally called Football Ways, and that strategic plan basically catered for football for all, anywhere, anytime, and any format. We're starting to see a lot of five-a-side and seven-a-side initiatives from our organisation because it's more than just 11-a-side. There's around 450,000 players who play football all year round, and about 72,000 players play football just in the winter. So we have to cater for football all year round, and we know historically in the off season, the football off season, futsal and indoor soccer has been primarily played, and that's where it's most popular in that time of the year. So from the recommendations in 2019, and then from my own extensive consultation post-COVID as well, it's really, really unfortunate the impact that COVID has had on the leisure industry or the futsal industry as well, indoor sports being locked up for so long, that we really need to first of all just show our support and be genuine in, I wanted to go in there with personally a narrative that was genuine and that could really regain the trust and credibility of the futsal community. And I think, first of all, that's just to unify the sport. We needed to, like you said, it's a lot of fractions out there, and that's because over the last decade or so, there's been, change. There's been a lot of change. There's been a lot of, different direction and from management in different organisations about how they govern football and where it sits in the football economy. So first of all, I just wanted to get them together and unify them. And how do we also recognise the sport of futsal and its place in our economy? So the fact now that we've got that formally recognised as part of our strategic plan, and we really want to facilitate its growth amongst schools. We want to see the increase in development of players and coaches and referees and futsal clubs and futsal centres throughout Victoria. So that's the first really item in the strategy. And the second one, and you've seen it today with Paul as well, is that we want to provide the futsal competition providers and the futsal clubs that are out there with a genuine value proposition to partner with us in a like an affiliation model, if you like, something that's going to be mutually beneficial to them to grow and develop the game together in a unified way. We're not there to compete with the providers. We're there to unify them. We need to lead them. We need to govern them, and we need to unite them. And that's our role in this. We need to make sure that what they do can really create a real positive experience for the players, the coaches, the referees, and so forth. And the third thing is what we touched on earlier, was really the major one for me, is to ensure that we have increased and improved facilities for futsal across Victoria. We already have done some really tremendous work as an organisation to unlock funding from all levels of government for football and for football clubs in particular. I would love to see us having the same conversation in that same room where we're talking about football and talk about futsal as well. Yeah. Because basketball and netball are there. They're getting they've done it right for many years. But as I'm hearing now and talking to venue operators and councils as well, is that basketball and netball even siding together. They have very similar strategic plans, and it makes sense to strategize together and get those courts from us.
That's great to hear. I mean, it's great that there's a strategy. I've been involved in futsal, as you know, Anthony, back in the UK many moons ago. But for me, we've talked about player development on this show for best part of three seasons now. Futsal really is a great tool for players to become more technical. We talk about the SAP program within Football Victoria, and that's fantastic. I believe that futsal has a totally different place, but it still gets in the same results or better results than those SAP training. Would you agree?
Yeah, of course. And I think it depends on who you ask. I mean, personally, I've seen the benefits of futsal even on my own playing days, and even from a refereeing perspective, short, sharp decision making affects it impacted even the way I'd referee outdoor and my ability to handle people skills and all sorts of things. So it's not just the player development side of things; it's for coaches and for referees as well.
Yeah.
Now, Anthony, we did see some footage there of I think it's Futsal Oz players, and we also saw some vintage footage of the old James Hardie National Indoor Soccer Competition, which was held, I think back in the 80s. And I don't
think I was born then, Tonchi.
I wasn't. Craig was. Craig was born when football was first invented back in the UK. But we've got one viewer says, now this is an interesting question. I think he's just left himself tongue-tied here. Alex Sivkarovsky says, what is the plan for a national Victorian futsal league? Alex has got a good point, though. As far as like an elite competition, and once upon a time, Victoria was very, very strong in a national league as per se. Is there talk of having like a statewide competition that is the elite futsal league, for Victoria, that might have some of the best players from the various associations playing? And how do you go about that? Because it does seem to be so fractured at the moment.
We've got a lot of work ahead of us, Tonchi and Craig. At the end of the day, we'd all love to see a state-based Premier League or F League where you're having the best futsal players across Victoria from all regions, not just Metro Melbourne, but from all regions, playing week in, week out. And whether that's something we can do now or 6 months or a year from now, it's something we need to work together on. It's no good us, as we can show all the leadership we want as an organisation. But for me personally, I'd love to see us build something together with the community that we all can embrace, and it's something that's going to be sustainable for the long term. From a national perspective, we really should be looking at having a national futsal league first and foremost. As a national futsal league, all the countries, all the major players out there have national futsal leagues which they participate in. And then that really sets up the pathway for players who want to choose futsal as an option to play from the grassroots all the way through to the elite side. And that's what we're set up as an organisation to do. And we are working through that at the moment. So my first priority is to make sure that we've got some information sessions that we're rolling out from next week as well with the community. Obviously, we've had a lot of consultation already, but I think now we're starting to see, since our announcement, a lot of the providers and the futsal clubs sort of coming together. We've reinvigorated a lot of the dialogue already, and we're starting to discuss and see what potential opportunities are out there in the short term, but also in the long term, again, building something that's sustainable. The state league for me is a no-brainer. It's just how we do it, because I think as we've learnt with the NPL, and I've been at the Federation now for 13 or so years, we've seen with the NPL in recent years how it became a centralised brand, and we now see a consistent look and professional feel across all the states in Australia. And for me, that was really someone who was heading commercial as well, is that brings a lot of that brings a halo effect for that particular product. So, we had in recent times, or a few years back, we had what was the F League, which was a sort of a national, a makeshift national futsal league competition, if you like. It was based on sort of rounds and hubs from held in Victoria and Sydney and Canberra. How do we get to that stage where we're seeing a national futsal league in the future, and then every state has its own F League, similar to what NPL does. So NPL at the moment is NPL Victoria, NPL in Queensland, NPL in New South Wales. So how can we do the same from an F League perspective, where we have state-based F Leagues in every state, and then maybe the winners in each of the age groups, or from an open men and open women division, where you'd also then perhaps have the Futsaroos and the equivalent Australian women's team that are playing at FIFA Futsal World Cups. You set up the whole pathway from start to finish, and then when you're a 12-year-old and you're a 14-year-old and you're a 16-year-old boy or girl, you're inspired to go down that pathway and I guess choose. You need to also choose between football and futsal as well, because going back to one of your questions, Tonchi, it's not just what's out there from a futsal perspective, is that you've got football as well. So we're competing really for players who are also choosing, having to choose between NPL or futsal and Saturday and Sunday, and not just sport, but entertainment and all the things that are out there these days other than sport. So we've really got some key decisions to make, not just from a state perspective, but nationally, and how futsal fits into talented player development and also the grassroots as well.
I know a lot.
Sorry, Tom, go on.
I was going to say, I know in a lot of South American and European countries where they have fully professional futsal leagues, the players that play in those futsal comps actually don't play football. So it's seen as two completely different sports, which it is. Yes. And I guess that brings me to another question that one of our viewers, Chris Briffer, says, would it be better to link futsal teams with clubs? In your opinion, Anthony, is that probably, I know there are some clubs, I think Northcote City is one that has a designated futsal arm, and then obviously it's got its outdoor arm. Is that something you'd love to see in Victoria, the rise of so-called super clubs that have, on the one hand, football operations, but also on the other hand, they've got futsal operations?
Yeah, and look, I'd love to see football clubs get involved in futsal on a number of levels, and particularly going from a player development perspective. But I'm not the technical director. I'm not the one who sort of rolls out the national curriculum. This is a personal opinion. But also, in terms of getting involved with teams out even during their season for football, for them to play in futsal competitions, again, just because of those attributes that it brings to the outdoor game. Mm. What we're seeing though is from what I've seen with the consultation process and speaking to many, not just in Victoria, but there's a real big futsal club culture now that has been born out of the players who have played for in social leagues such as Sunbury City Futsal, or whether it's in Caroline Springs, or whether it's in Cheltenham. They've played in their local leagues, and not all of a sudden wanted to take it a bit more seriously because they've seen some providers be a bit more professional. They've seen the opportunities from, say, an F League, or at one time we had some clubs qualify. We had a Victorian club called Vic Vipers qualify and play in the AFC Futsal Championships. So during that time there was a real culture of creating futsal clubs and training and playing week in, week out. So we're starting to see that. So it's going to be interesting to see the dynamic between futsal clubs who want to play futsal all year round and football clubs who might only want to get involved in futsal in the off season. And that's the thing is, we're trying to build something that's sustainable and something that's going to be consistent week in, week out, because we've also got, again, not just players, but you've got referees and you've got venues to think about, you've got coaches to think about, and there's qualifications and education and development for them as well that they need ongoing game time.
We've actually just stole my thunder, because one of my next question was going to be for you is, could it potentially, if we were trying to involve the clubs, could it be an off-season program for certainly the younger age groups? But you've just answered that one. Next question is, how many current futsal teams do we have in Victoria that play in the leagues?
So we've got about 40,000 players. Teams is a bit harder to sort of, but if you think that a team might have 7 players in any social night, even 6 sometimes if they're pull up a bit sore to play tonight. But there's about 40,000 players that play all year round indoor soccer. So you just think about how many teams and how many people that are out there going for a kickabout from even from social, just to go for a kickabout with mates tonight after work, or they were all impacted the last 9 months. A lot of those futsal operators and venues didn't see any of their players for a long time.
Yeah, and it's a shame, because
it's quite a scary thought to see that potentially they might not return.
Yeah, well, you're involved in the leisure centre down in Geelong there, Tonch, and certainly from a North Geelong perspective, we train there through the winter period, and that's been locked up for best part of a year, isn't it?
Yeah. Well, I mean, speaking of that, and as Anthony knows, I worked at Football Victoria at one stage, and a big shout out to my ex-colleague down there who's heavily involved with the futsal, Foddy Kiprian. I never actually imagined or realised just how big futsal is in a place like Geelong, and I know in Ballarat it's just as big, Bendigo, the west of Melbourne, until I actually saw it for myself. And then I actually had my kid enter a team at under 9 level, and we were playing there. And it's just so big from a social perspective. And I think one of the things that we'll always kind of think is now the next step, the pathways, like actually having players that are at representative level and what you're not. And I know there was a team called Geelong United last year that took part. That was coached by ex-Corio coach Ante Didlitz, and they swept everything at a country meet. So the potential, Anthony, not just Geelong, obviously, but I'm talking there from personal experience, but all around the state is the potential is immense.
But also as a spectator sport, Tonch.
As a spectator sport.
You know, as a spectator sport, it's fantastic because it's really quick. There's lots of goals. You don't get 1 and 2-0 wins. You get some big results in there, and you get an opportunity to see some great football talent on a regular basis. You know, because the control of some of these, you watch some of these Brazilians. You go onto any YouTube clip and watch some of these Brazilians playing football. You look at Neymar and your Messi's and those type of guys. They were brought up on futsal. So it's Ronaldo. It's no coincidence that the best players in the world have all started their careers at a very early age playing futsal.
Yeah. So Anthony, I guess to summarize everything, there's a lot of potential. It's a massive job. It really, really is when you think about it. And you've mentioned the complexities of it. But at the same time, it must be absolutely awesome, exciting. Must be an exciting era that is going to come before us as far as futsal in this state is concerned.
It's very exciting, and particularly now that the Football Australia have included futsal in the 11 Principles document, which is a document which is going to set up the future, 15 years from now for football in Australia. So I know it's one of their big priorities, and they want to set up a national agenda for futsal and beach soccer as well. Beach soccer is another format of the game that is hugely popular overseas. It's got its own World Cup as well. I think we've had a few tries at it over the years in other states as well here in Australia.
Do we not do that down in, sorry to interrupt you, was there not some football tournament last year in Frankston and Geelong, I think, beach football, wasn't it?
Yeah, possibly.
Yeah.
And we've done the St Kilda Festival. There's been some, but again, that's another one that needs a bit of support. And, wherever we can get people playing football, futsal, 5-a-side, 7-a-side, you name it. I mean, for us, that's what we're about with Football Ways. So I think it's important that, how we prioritize moving forward, even in terms of our resources and everything else. So it's going to be interesting. But again, I'm really interested, especially how we can align with the other states and how we can all work together to be as consistent as possible, not just in Victoria. And if we can inspire the other states to do the same with the F League and everything we're trying to do here, we're trying to we're going to be announcing, our 4 referees courses that we're going to be doing soon, our 4 coaching courses for futsal again. That they haven't been done in, I think the last coaching course we did was 2016. And already we've got a backlog of referees and coaches who are out there, unfortunately unqualified and not accredited, not a member. So we need to give them a sense of belonging, need to develop them, support them, mentor them. And there's a lot of things we need to do. But, we're up for the challenge because the outcomes are going to be great.
Fantastic. Vladimir Zetovic, you've just heard it there. There's a referees course right up your street, mate. So get yourself booked on it, mate, and I'm sure we'll see you on the big screens very shortly. But look, Anthony, we'll wrap it up there, mate. We wish you all the very best with it. It's as you said, it's a big task. It's a big operation for you to do. We're glad that somebody's on board and running it. Would love to get you back on the show throughout the year and keep an eye on what you're doing, and any help you need from us in promoting it, please let us know, and we'll do what we can.
Thank you. Hope to see you at the State Futsal Championships in April as well.
Perfect. We may even come down and do a live broadcast, Hans. What do you reckon?
Might be an idea. Absolutely. Absolutely. Yep. Fantastic, Anthony. Thank you very much for your time on this balmy Friday evening. We'll let you get back to your family and have a great weekend.
See you guys.
Thanks, Anthony. All the best.
Bye.
Nice fella, Anthony Grimmer, the head of futsal. We didn't get a chance to chat about, he's also the head of commercial there, runs the community and business, also looks after the media department. He really has his hands full. But certainly as far as futsal, it is exciting because futsal is a great sport, and as I think Maxi Santich, we've got to put his comment up. Well said, Craig. Futsal is the closest thing we have in Australia to European handball as far as entertainment level goes. And that's absolutely really good point there. It's entertainment-wise such a good point. Chris Briffa, great to have Chris on the show. He says get the junior players to play futsal in the off season. Yeah. Absolutely true. Like I said, from personal experience, and it's funny because today we actually had on Facebook, I had a what do they call it? Those memories that came up, and I had to share that with me.
Yeah, I saw that actually.
Yeah, and it was just great to have that. And there it is. There's the Little Kickers, they were called. Amazing team. They played a team that was much better than them, but they did so well, and then they ended up winning the competition. But what I saw with those kids is in the off season, that close ball control, that the skills that they realized in that helped them massively as far as, and we're talking Mini Roos here. It helped them so much in the following year in the outdoor version, because I guess Mini Roos in particular is on a smaller court, and those type of skills are really important. And I've seen as those kids have progressed, their close ball control has been amazing compared to kids that haven't had a chance to play. So, Chris, you're absolutely right. I think in the off season, getting your juniors to play, what's it called? Getting your juniors to play futsal in some shape or another is absolutely.
Look, there's no downside to it, Tonchi. It can only make the players better. It is about ball control. It is about technique. I'm still coaching. I'm sure there's lots of other coaches out there that are coaching at 19s, 20s, 21s, and they can't do the basic because they didn't have all of this back in when they were growing up. So we have to take advantage of what's out there if we want to be serious about football and being the best that we can. Then we have to take futsal, football, beach football, whatever that might look like, to make us better. So wish Anthony all the best with that one, and I'll certainly be looking forward to seeing how that progresses.
Yeah. Now, mate, have we got Darren Trainer from Melton Phoenix on the line?
We do, Anthony. Tonch, Darren's been holding on nice and patiently.
He's a
in
good
the background.
man.
He's a good lad. So, Darren, welcome to the show. How are you? Sorry for letting you hang on the lines there, but it was important that we get Anthony to have a chat with us. So,
Can we hear him? I can't hear him. Hello, Darren, you there? Have you turned the volume up, Craig?
Yeah, no, we're all good this end.
I can't hear him. No, I can't hear him, unfortunately.
Unbelievable.
No good. Darren Trainer, he's the senior men's coach of the Melton Phoenix FC football club there. They are taking on Wyndham FC in the qualifying round of the FFA Cup this weekend. A big game there. One of those two State League 5 sides will progress through to the next round. We heard earlier in the show, right at the top of the show, we did hear from Dominic Ortayano from Wyndham FC. Craig, I didn't realise that Wyndham FC was actually a merger between Wyndham Vale and who was the other side?
Wyndham United.
Wyndham United, yeah.
That's right.
So that was awesome there. But have we got?
Well, Darren's on the line. I'm not sure whether you can hear him now, but Darren, you there? No, we can't seem to hear you.
No, unfortunately not. We've got the Gremlins at play once again, unfortunately. Darren, thank you so much for joining us and coming on the show, even though we weren't able to hear you. But thank you for your patience. We wish you all the best, not just for tomorrow, but obviously the season ahead. So hopefully, Darren, you can hear us. Craig, mate, we won't be seeing you next week, but great news. Steve Curtin, the third member of the Three Stooges from last year, he will be stepping into the hot seat next week. So we look forward to that. But Craig, you deserve a nice weekend away, and look forward to hearing all the stories when you get back, mate.
Yeah, look, thanks for that, Tom. I'm away for a weekend before the rush of the football season starts, because I won't get a weekend away before the end of September. So all the best with the show next week. I'm sure Steve will step in, and he's very good with his show. So look forward to a break, and I'll catch up with you hopefully the week after next.
Absolutely. Thanks, mate, for joining us. And on that note, on behalf of Craig and myself, thank you very much for being a part of tonight's show. Look forward to next week. Remember, you can become a member of the Football Out West Show by going to www.patreon.com/Football Out West Show. Until next week, thank you very, very much for joining us. Good night and have a great weekend.